First, let's break down what exactly we're talking about, these PBMs. These are pharmacy benefits managers. They're essentially middlemen between the insurance companies, the drug manufacturers, and the pharmacies. They negotiate drug prices, process claims, and they reimburse the pharmacies. But the issue, according to many within the industry, is the operators of some of these PBMs. They also own the insurance companies, and they also own the pharmacies, giving their own operations the advantage over other ones like independent pharmacies. Now, recently I told you about the Fair RX bill, which would, if passed, prevent these PBMs from owning and operating pharmacies in Tennessee. Well, now I sat down with an owner of several independent pharmacies that gave me an inside look at an industry that he says has a dark side. I met Blake Musick, the owner of Lifewell Pharmacies, at their Johnson City location. He's been working in the industry for more than 20 years.
The pharmacy that I worked for previously, they were privately owned when I first took that position as a pharmacy manager for about the first 2 years. And then they were bought out by a PBM entity. At that point, things changed pretty drastically.
He says after that, pharmacists were forced to be less concerned for their patients and more concerned about the business.
We had situations where if a patient wanted to stop taking a medication, we had to refer that patient to a call center where a pharmacist that worked for the PBM entity would basically consult that patient into trying to continue taking that medication.
Now, as an owner of an independent pharmacy, Musick says PBMs make it difficult to keep his doors open.
We're often competing against a large corporation that actually sets the pricing at our pharmacy and sets the pricing at their pharmacy. I actually ran a report just before we did this interview, and just during the last week, there were about 15 pages of prescriptions where we were paid less than $1 to fill a prescription.
Musick says PBMs not only set his pricing, they can also come back and take what they already reimbursed.
We actually had a situation in the last 6 months where one of the PBMs came back and recouped a lot of money from us, to the situation that it was like, it had us renegotiating our expenses for the pharmacy.
He says the PBM reprocessed thousands of claims and decided they paid Lifewell too much for certain prescriptions.
They actually, the next day, withdrew that money out of our account with no warning.
This is part of the contracts that pharmacies sign with these PBMs. It may seem strange to voluntarily put your business in these types of situations, but Musick explains it's not that simple.
For the main 3 PBMs, basically the contracts are take it or leave it, meaning they are saying, here are the terms of our contract, here's what we're going to pay you, and if you don't accept those terms, then you're not going to be contracted with us, which puts independent pharmacies in the position of, do you want to be able to serve 90% of the population who has one of those 3 pharmacy benefit managers as their plan manager, or do you want to only be able to serve 10% of the population out there who doesn't have one of those?
The bill named Fair RX isn't aimed at preventing PBMs from operating in Tennessee, but if passed, it would prevent them from owning or operating pharmacies. CVS Caremark, for example, is a PBM, one of the largest in the nation. Caremark is owned by CVS Health, which also operates CVS pharmacies. CVS says if the bill is passed, they'd be forced to shut down their stores, 134 in total, leaving, according to their estimates, 1.5 million Tennesseans without their pharmacy. But Musick, like Senator Harshbarger, says independent pharmacies could handle their patients.
If something happened and major corporations decided to shut their doors, independent pharmacies would rise to the occasion and find a way to make it work.
In Northeast Tennessee, Liam Bridgman, News 5, WCYB.